Anne Boleyn did not die because she was weak. She died because she became too powerful in a world where powerful women were never allowed to feel safe. She was the woman Henry VIII wanted so badly that he was willing to shake a kingdom for her. For Anne, he challenged the Pope, broke from Rome, ended his first marriage, and changed England. Yet the same king who risked everything to make her queen would later send her to the executioner's block. That is why Anne Boleyn's story still feels alive. It is not just a royal romance that ended in blood. It is a story of ambition, intelligence, betrayal, politics, and survival inside a dangerous court. Anne was not simply Henry VIII's second wife. She was a woman who understood power, rose higher than anyone expected, and paid the price when that power turned against her. Anne was not born with a crown waiting for her. The Boleyns had influence, but not ancient royalty. They climbed upward through service, marriage, and ambition. Her father, Thomas Boleyn, understood that education, manners, language, and connections could open doors that blood alone could not. So Anne was sent into the finest courts of Europe, where she learned diplomacy, confidence, and the silent rules of influence. Her time in Europe, especially in France, changed her completely. When she returned to England, she was not the court's most traditional beauty. But she had something more dangerous. She had presence. She knew how to dress, how to speak, how to hold attention, and how to make people curious. Before Henry became obsessed with Anne, her sister Mary Boleyn had already been close to him. Mary was rumored to have been Henry's mistress, which made Anne's later relationship with the king complicated. At the time, marrying a former mistress's sister could be treated as forbidden. But Henry VIII was not the kind of man who allowed rules to block his desire. At first, Anne did something Henry was not used to. She refused to become just another woman in his list of affairs. That refusal changed everything. Henry lived in a world where people bowed and surrendered. But Anne held back. Whether it came from pride, caution, intelligence, or strategy, it worked. The harder she was to win, the more he wanted her. Desire turned into obsession. Henry wrote to her, chased her, promised her greatness, and convinced himself she was not only the woman he wanted, but the woman who could solve his deepest problem. His first wife, Catherine of Aragon, had given him a daughter, Mary, but no surviving son. Henry desperately wanted a son. Anne became his hope for a new beginning. But Catherine of Aragon refused to disappear quietly. She had been queen for years, respected, dignified, and deeply religious. So Anne's rise became more than a love story. When the Pope refused Henry, the king moved toward breaking England away from Rome. A private desire became a national revolution, and Anne stood at the center of it all. When Anne finally became queen in 1533, it should have been her great triumph. Her coronation sent a clear message. She was not a temporary favorite. She was the queen, and the child she carried was expected to be the future of England. But Anne's crown was never secure. Many still loved Catherine. Others remained loyal to Princess Mary. To them, Anne was not a queen, but an intruder. Her most important duty was simple and terrifying: give Henry a son. Instead, she gave birth to a daughter named Elizabeth. At the time, her birth was a disappointment. Henry wanted a prince who would prove that everything he had done had been worth it. Anne understood the danger. If she failed, his love would not protect her forever. History later revealed the irony. The daughter Henry received with disappointment would become Queen Elizabeth I. Anne never lived to see that triumph. She never knew that the child people underestimated would become far more powerful than the son Henry had dreamed of. As queen, Anne's life became a dangerous performance. The passion that had once consumed Henry began to fade. His attention wandered. The man who had torn England apart for her now looked at other women. Anne had fought to replace Catherine, but now she found herself trapped in the same pain Catherine had endured. Anne was not passive. She was intelligent, proud, and politically alert. She tried to protect her position, build allies, and control the danger around her. But Henry VIII could not be managed for long. Once his affection shifted, the court shifted with him, and her enemies waited for the perfect moment. Rumors gathered around Anne like smoke. People whispered about her family, her morals, her body, and her influence over the king. Some hated her because of religion. Some were loyal to Catherine and Mary. Others simply saw opportunity in her downfall. In Tudor politics, a rumor did not need to be true. It only needed to be useful. Anne could be sharp. She was not a silent victim drifting through history. She knew how to challenge and how to use appearance as a message. When Catherine of Aragon died in January 1536, Anne was said to have worn yellow, which some interpreted as celebration. Whether exaggerated or not, the story helped her enemies paint her as cold and proud. But 1536 did not become Anne's year of victory. It became the year everything collapsed. She suffered miscarriages. The son Henry wanted did not come. Then, Henry's attention moved toward Jane Seymour, a quieter woman who seemed to offer the obedience Anne did not. Suddenly, the qualities that had once made Anne exciting became dangerous. Her confidence became arrogance, and her influence became a threat. When Henry wanted freedom from Anne, the accusations came quickly. She was charged with adultery, incest, and treason. Several men were accused with her, including her brother George. The charges were shocking and humiliating, most likely designed to destroy her rather than reveal truth. In Tudor England, justice often followed the king's wishes. Anne was taken to the Tower of London, the same place where she had prepared for her coronation only 3 years earlier. Now, it became her prison. In her final days, she moved between fear, confusion, calm, and dark humor. She reportedly joked about her little neck, a haunting detail before the blade. Henry arranged for a skilled swordsman from Calais to execute her. It was presented as mercy, but even that mercy feels cruel. On May 19, 1536, Anne Boleyn was beheaded. Her life ended quickly, but her story did not. After her death, people tried to turn her into a monster. Rumors claimed she had a sixth finger, strange marks, and unnatural features. These stories helped justify her execution. If Anne could be painted as cursed, Henry looked less like a husband who destroyed his wife. Later accounts challenged these claims, but legends are hard to kill. Anne's daughter Elizabeth grew up under the shadow of her mother's execution. She rarely spoke openly about Anne, which is easy to understand. Still, Elizabeth carried quiet pieces of her with her. She used symbols connected to her mother and kept a ring with tiny portraits of herself and Anne inside it. Even centuries later, Anne Boleyn has never disappeared. Hever Castle remains tied to her memory. The Tower of London still carries the weight of her final walk. Stories of her ghost continue because people cannot let her rest. Anne was not perfect. She could be ambitious, proud, political, and unforgiving. But she lived in a world where women had to be clever to survive, and even cleverness could not always save them. Henry took her crown, her marriage, and her life. But he failed to erase her. Anne died accused and abandoned, but history remembered her. The king who destroyed her became infamous for his cruelty. The daughter he underestimated became a legend. And Anne Boleyn, the woman they tried to silence with rumors and a sword, became unforgettable. So what do you think? Was Anne Boleyn a dangerous woman, or was she destroyed by a dangerous king? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more powerful stories from history.